Can you hear me? Yeah. So I want to thank everyone for calling me here today. But as ma'am was talking before me, that suicide sometimes happens for really severe reasons, like the farmer suicides, they don't have money to pay things off. But as I'm reporting every day, I've realized as the world is changing, reasons for suicide have changed. It could just be not having enough Instagram followers. That is enough to make a child think that he wants to commit suicide, So it's actually really about not dealing with the pressures that we have with life today that comes with being popular, or especially social media is a big change in how kids are seeing themselves, So last year, I had this unfortunate task of reporting on the suicide of 23-year-old Arjun Bharadwaj. Basically, he's the boy who jumped off Taj Lands End. So he checked into Taj Lands End and he got a luxury suite, he ordered wine, he had pasta, and then he did a little live video about 5 ways to commit suicide. And nobody really responded because, when you have a live video, you get a prompt on Facebook saying somebody is going live. Aastha is going live at this conference and you can tune in. When he went live, most people thought he was joking and they didn't even log on. His own friends did not log on. And I watched that video because I was forced to. I would have not watched that video otherwise. And he's talking very calmly to the camera. And you don't even I felt at one point that he was actually happy. He seems happy. It's like celebrating life, And so the steps are all about getting drunk, writing suicide notes. He wrote around 7 of them to his mom and to his friends, and ordering food. He then says bye and he says, I'll see you on the other side, and that's where the video ends. But I also saw another video which was shot from someone outside Taj Lands End, which shows him opening the window, then going back because someone knocks on the door, then coming back to the window and just jumping. And it was really horrific. It stayed with me for days. So as I was doing this story, I spoke to a lot of his friends. Like, I couldn't speak to his parents, but I spoke to a lot of friends who I got their contacts from Instagram. And they all said that he was very happy. There was nothing wrong. Like, he was only slightly worried about, studies and things like that. But we are all worried about things on a daily basis. But what really scared me, and I asked everyone about this, that he looked so calm, he looked so in control when he was doing it. And I remember talking to a psychiatrist called Zirak Marker who works with Empower, and he told me that once a person makes up their mind to commit suicide, then everything is calm. Like, you've taken a decision and now what to worry about. So they actually become, they're at a border of, they are happy about it because they've actually made their mind, So basically that it's all decided, so why feel bad? And most of his friends said that they had no inkling that he was depressed. I think one of his friends also said that he had reached out to a couple of people, but they had shrugged him off. So I faced the problem on reporting about the suicide and not making Arjun look like a psycho case. Because if you watch the video and then you see him jumping off, you're like, maybe he's done drugs. Maybe he's just, maybe he's just a psycho child. And I think responsible reporting is all about reporting the facts without judgment. That is what I'm doing. I'm there to report the facts. I'm not there to pass judgment on why it was done. But it's also trying to highlight the fact in a very non-judgmental way that this is not the answer that you're looking for. To kill yourself is not the answer. I'm firmly of the conviction that you can't glamorize suicide. I think as journalists, that's what we have to not do. Because many doctors also told me, who I spoke to during this story, said that sometimes suicide victims, especially when they're children, see it as their large, grand act of being noticed. Because all they want in this social media world is to get noticed. And it is their last pitch attempt to go out in this, great way, like a star burning out, It's like, it's my grand act, I will be remembered, I'll be on the covers of all the newspapers. And so that I couldn't get I couldn't get famous in my real life, so why not after death? They see it as their grand act of being a legend. So we have to stop glamorizing suicide. It also goes with things like not putting tributes on social media when somebody famous commits suicide. I'm totally against that. Anthony Bourdain, who was my favorite chef, committed suicide last month, and there were eulogies and tributes over him, how he how he inspired us. Yes, he inspired me all my life. He was the perfect example, the perfect job. You're traveling all over the world, you're eating great food, you're cool, you look good. Who wouldn't want his job? And to realize that even he wasn't happy and he committed suicide, it went against everything I had ever known. But the fact that we can't glamorize it, be it on social media or in the newspapers. Like when I was speaking to people about that same story, I was told that there are Facebook groups which actually help you commit suicide. So every time they give you courage to do it. If you're a self-cutter, they will give you tutorials on how to self-cut so that your parents can't see it, how to hide things from your parents. So slowly that person is getting courage to go. And when they see somebody like Arjun doing it, they look at his video and say, oh my God, he seems so happy and calm. So that means if I decide to commit suicide tomorrow, that's how I'll feel. I'll escape everything. So that's the reason, we have to be very responsible. And also, we, as a journalist, I feel it's a sad job, but somebody has to do it. You have to report all the ghastly details sometimes, so that just that you put off someone from committing suicide. You're anti-de-glamorizing it. You're saying this is not cool to do it. You're not going to get famous by doing this. We have to say it. You have to sometimes say that this is wrong in those so many words. But I would say that the best way to report on suicide is to bear all the ugly facts and then talk to experts on advice on how to take care of yourself and your mental health. Even when, I also, other than a journalist, I also write romance books, and I have recently started a podcast on Sawan, which is about love and romance, and I have been getting messages every hour, which is about people youngsters all over the country who have romance problems and are thinking of committing suicide. Some have tried to commit suicide. One girl wrote to me, she was 18, and she said, I just lost my virginity to someone, and I was going back home, and his friend told me, come back. When I went back, he was having sex with another girl. So I went home and tried to commit suicide thrice. The fact is that she survived, but she was trying to commit suicide. And I just give advice as a writer and a journalist. My only advice to everyone is to love themselves, because that's where it all starts. And to end, I can only say that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control what your reaction to it is. So that's what I feel I give out through all my stories, that this is what you did, this is why you shouldn't have done it, and this is what you can do. And I do not ever glamorize it, because suicide is not to be glamorized, and that's my most important role as a journalist. Thank you.